I'm going to bring it up. I haven't told Alexis yet, but I'm going to throw it up. Was the Daniel Jones deal a mistake for the Giants? Because I'll tell you right now, Alexis, I got to say it. I feel like Daniel Jones is the Blake Bortles in this story. I think the Giants got lost in the sauce. I think they totally bit the apple, and it's the poison apple. Daniel Jones is not a bad quarterback, but is Daniel Jones worth $40 million? But Jake, he's got a good cap number in 2023. Yes, Alexis, let's talk about that. A good cap number. What does that sound like? Sounds like the Rams, right? When they got Leonard Floyd for what? He had like a $5 million cap number. Now he's a $22 million. That all comes due. Like that just means that, his good cap number this year is like 20 million so they can actually get some free agents. Yeah, but then his cap number is going to go up to 40 million down the road. Like you're going to have to pay for that. The thing with Daniel Jones is that he showed some promise this year. He got better, obviously as a runner, but I think he got better as a passer. You know, he looked good in the playoffs, whatever. But here's the dilemma. Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Derek Carr, you got these draft picks. I mean, can you justify like that's the thing. I don't think this was the right move. I feel like they got stuck into this move. They got lost in the sauce, and they got into a Jacksonville Jaguars situation where when the Jaguars in 2017, went to the AFC title game and were that close to going to the Super Bowl with Blake Bortles, they were like, I guess we have to keep Blake Bortles. They didn't think to upgrade. They stuck it out. How much better is Daniel Jones going to get over the next, 2-3 years? That's the question.
Well, I think, and I said this a little earlier, but I feel like historically after a quarterback gets paid, things go bad. That is usually, unless it's like a Patrick Mahomes, right? I just think I don't know why that is. It probably is coincidental, but I'm very nervous about paying quarterbacks. I think kind of you touched on this a little bit. The Giants got stuck in a situation where they had an incredible year. Daniel Jones looked very good, better than he ever has. And he looked, not just that, he looked good. I mean, he was like, every Giants game I watched, I was super impressed. I mean, Daniel Jones had it, right? So not only that, Saquon Barkley was healthy again, which he has not been healthy. So Saquon Barkley's tearing it up. You've got Brian Dable. The Giants just looked very, very good. But then Daniel Jones and Saquon's contracts are up. So I get it. If you're the Giants, are you going to continue to roll with all the chemistry, right, on the team? They really should have made it further in the playoffs with the way the NFC is. I mean, you touched on earlier how the NFC is just so weak. Or is that, do you shake it up and you're like, I know that we were really good this year, but like, we don't want to give Daniel Jones the money. So we're just what are they going to do? They didn't have a high draft pick. They probably didn't want to have to trade up in the draft, give away future capital. I mean, most teams don't want to unless it's absolutely necessary. So you're not going to draft a quarterback. And then what free agents do you have? I mean, are you going to be better off with those free agents than you are Daniel Jones? Who are they going to bring in? Like Jimmy Garoppolo?
Well, that's the weird thing. I mean,
it's like at that point, I think what they did is they risked it on Daniel Jones. And I think the good news about the contract is I don't foresee a situation where Daniel Jones gets worse right now, because it's hard to argue when you see the way that the Giants shook things up and how it just like everything clicked. So I don't see it being a regression issue. I think it, hopefully would not be an injury thing.
Yeah, I think Brian Dable is a very good coach. I kept saying last year, as you know, because we talked about it, I just felt like he was the definition of just elevating a team. When you talk about how coaching can make a difference, you watch that Giants team. Were they that talented? Hell no, they were not. Like Isaiah Hodgins became their number one receiver at the end of the year. And I was very excited for him because I like him. I think he's the son or he is the nephew of James Hodgins. I think he's the son. James Hodgins, of course, being the former Ram. But I feel like when you have a guy like Dable, you don't need to invest that heavily on Daniel. I don't think they should have gone for what was that, 4-year deal? I would not have done that. I would not have done that. I would have said, we're going to sign you a 2-year deal. And we're going to give you, whatever. We'll give you $35 million for over 2 years, 35 a year. And that's what I would have done. It is somewhat concerning to me that Daniel Jones wasn't willing to take less money to try to win. And you can say what you will, it's his first contract and all that. But when you are the Giants and you're building something here, you can see it, and you just need a little bit more money to build out that offense, right? Whether it be adding to the offensive line, getting a weapon, it makes you better taking less money. I know it's easy for me to say because it's not my money, but I do think that, ultimately he could have taken less money. We've seen it in the past. Peyton Manning took less money with the Broncos. They were able to, surround him with talent. Tom Brady took less money. I understand this was his first deal, but I just feel like with what they're building with the Giants, they have a very, very good head football coach. I don't know. That might come back to bite them.
I think, and it's going to sound really weird and definitely probably a little ignorant, but I also have noticed when players don't take team-friendly deals and they're not superstars, like Daniel Jones isn't a superstar, it's because they panicked as well. And they're like, I need to get this contract now.
That was the vibe I got.
Exactly, because he probably knows. Like, I'm not saying that, like, Daniel Jones knows that, like, he could very well regress next season and every season after. It's just
Isn't that
his
concerning?
reality.
That's what my quarterback's thinking of.
But I'm just saying that, like, a lot of times, like, I think when players take huge contracts, everyone's like, oh, it's about the money. And, like, it is. The first thing is definitely the money. But the second is also, like, I know I need to sign this deal now. And not take less money now. If I'm going to get an offer this big, now's my time. But I also do know from some of my Giants friends who I follow on Twitter, I'm pretty sure Jones and Barkley had said they were a package deal.
That's interesting.
And I don't know if that's true. I saw some Giants people talking about that on Twitter. I don't think they'd have any reason to make that up. But I did feel that if the Giants kept one, they were going to find a way to keep the other, and it would be through a tag, which is what they did. But I think I'm not super worried about the Giants, but I'm not super sold either. I just think they had great chemistry this season. It was incredible. They were really fun to watch. Huge jump from where they were the previous season. And so I get why they're doing what they're doing. They want to roll with that. They want to keep the good times going.